Howdy, folks. Hope everybody's doing well in 2021 first day. Shave. This particular soap is brought to us by the way of Reef soaps. The name of this one here is Earl Grey Ginger. And yes, that's another one of those soaps that's not only no longer in production, but neither is the company either. So buy, sell, trade is going to be your best option to find one like this. And yes, it does smell fantastic. It is, the scent is, I guess you might say, it's present. It's not, I don't know if you call it light, but as opposed to subtle. It's definitely there even in this puck as long as I've had it. The scent, I mean, as soon as you open the lid, you can smell it, but it's not I wouldn't consider it a strong scent. It's just a subtle one. I'm going to be using the aftershave balm. I'll use this one here off camera, but this is one of my favorite soaps. It's kind of reminds me of my first time I ever drank, had a cup of Earl Grey, and I was surprised on how well I liked it. I'm not a big tea fan, in other words, and this one here, I really do like that tea. So anyway, got it whipped up here in the Crown King scuttle, still got water in it, and with the Shaven Sailor, this is a 3D printed brush, and I'm not sure. I don't think he's making, I don't know if he's in the business. That's probably a better way to put it. At least I haven't been able to find his website being up and running. So I'm kind of wondering if he's, because I know Stephen, he used, at one point in time would go to the farmers markets and stuff like that. And I don't know if he's went back just to doing that, or he not doing it at all. But anyhow, yeah, good luck in finding these handles nowadays. Which I used to order the handles, and I think they were like $11.99 without a knot in them. And I put my own knots in there, and yeah, it's a great deal in my opinion. Excuse me. Blade today is Ladas. This one here is just a stainless steel blade. It comes double wrapped. That's what the box looks like there. And I've got it in the timeless bronze razor. There is just a tiny bit of an overhang right here, not very much at all. Bronze, yes, this has some weight behind it. Go from aluminum razor that weighs just over what, an ounce, 1.3 ounces, and now this one here, being bronze, this one weighs about 4.5 ounces. It's not a lightweight. It's got some weight behind it. Feels really good in the hand, and in my opinion, I feel like it's well balanced also. I don't find the head being overly heavy, or the handle. It seems to be well balanced, and that might speak to the also that base plate is pretty good size. That's not tiny. It's got a little bit of weight behind it. But anyhow, I got a link down below which it breaks down the weight of the cap, the base plate, the handle. It does all that sort of thing for you, and it does it in grams for those that like it like that. I plug it into Google and tell me what grams equals into ounces. But at any rate, yeah, I'm still on the other side of things when it comes to ounces and whatnot. Already put a hot towel to the face this morning, so I'm gonna get ahead and get started with the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements pre-shave, Christmas pre-shave cube here. Don't know how New Year's Eve was for most folks, but I know here in Oklahoma where I'm at, it rained most of yesterday, and it didn't get too terribly warm either. And of course, it rained through most of the night, and it was a good night to stay home. We went and ordered some pizza, and boy, you talk about a hot mess. It was that poor place was swamped. Most people were getting their food to go, and evidently somebody, how can you say, overbooked their capacity. When we ordered it, we had ordered it, I guess you might say, with a certain idea that it would, we knew it might be a delay getting it, but not quite like what we went through last night. At any rate, when you order it, they tell you, okay, it'll be ready in about an hour. We expected to be busy, and waited an hour, and it wasn't ready. It was closer to 2 hours by the time everything was said and done. And there was one lady that had made mention that she had set her order up at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon to be picked up, later in the evening. and she was still waiting for hers, even though she had scheduled it well in advance. So I don't know if they had a glitch in their scheduling system. Did they have a scheduling system? Or did they just flat out overbook? I don't know. I have no idea what happened, but I know it was a mess. Because when I pulled in to try to get in the lot, yeah, the line to get into the lot was backed up quite a ways. So either, I my best guess, they just overbooked for the time. And man, yeah, 2 hours. That's a long time for pizza. And we weren't even going inside to eat. No, we were taking it home. Anyway, interesting evening. But yeah, it rained and rained and rained. It was not a pleasant day on New Year's Eve per se outside. It was a good day to stay inside as well as the evening. Now I know there's probably with some folks that went ahead and had plans and went ahead and did whatever they had planned, but for me, I was glad I already had plans of staying home. It gave me an opportunity to at least watch a few videos, as well as part of a football game. Stuff like that. And which I doubt most of the world keeps up with Tulsa University's football game. They play in the Armed Forces Bowl and lost by, a couple of points. They've had many games where it came right down to the final moments of the game, whether they were going to win or lose. It was a lot like that, and of course they lost. And I didn't see the brawl part, the fight, but Armed Forces, what can you say? I guess whoever was watching it, I guess you might say, got their money's worth if you're liking hockey and you're watching hockey for the fights. Well, you had to wait for the whole game to get this fight. But as it goes for quote-unquote local teams here in Oklahoma, 2 out of the 3 won their bowl games, so it's not too bad. I was hoping for 3 for 3, but I've used this blade before. It's for a I guess you might say, just a straight up stainless steel blade. It does pretty well. This is one of those shavers that weight of the shaver, the sharpness of the blade, let that do the work. And this is definitely one of them. If you can get used to the weight, you can definitely see what I'm talking about once you develop that technique with the gentle pressure and just allowing the weight of the shaver and the sharpness of the blade do the work. You just hold it up on your face and let it glide right on across, and it's just a smooth, comfortable shave. In case I didn't remember, can't remember if I mentioned it. For those that it matters, blade gap is 0.78 millimeters, I think, something like that. For me, to be honest with you, I don't. Those numbers really don't mean a whole lot to me. Maybe one day it will. I'll be able to translate what that means in the way of a shave, possibly. But to me, it seems like at times it has no more to do with the weight of the razor will help dictate what to expect. In other words, I feel like certain blades seem to do better in lightweight shavers than if they do in heavy shavers. And in other words, the marrying up the weight of the shaver with the blade that works best for me. Sometimes it's a little bit touch and go on the lightweight. The heavyweights, pretty easy. I mean, it seems like to me a number of the blades work well. I really enjoy this particular razor. It came to me by the way of Stephen Sprague. Really appreciate him sending it to me, because this one here is it's a wonderful shaver. 4.5 ounces in weight. That's pretty good. That's cool. I mean, it feels so good going across the face. And I guess I should mention that it is raw. bronze. So in other words, you're going to build up some tarnish or patina, if you will, and look at it like that, which is fine with me. It means there's no plating loss. I shine it up if I want to, leave it the way that it is. I like it like that. It depends also if you're looking and buying one of these. You can go to, if I remember correctly, they got a scratch and dent section. And you can go to that scratch and dent section, and I think you can go and pick almost everything you need. In other words, the cap, the base plate, the handle. I think even the stand is in, that you can choose which parts you want in the scratch and dent. And I think the total price without the stand, was $100. If you go to not the scratch and dent side of things, I think it's $140, I think. But for me, this shaver is awesome. At $100 on scratch and dent, I think it's well worth it. But that's because I'm a big fan. I think because I'm a big fan of the heavyweights. It's a beautiful shaver. And I know they have, titanium, and I think, is it aluminum? I can't remember. I don't really pay attention to them that much because I can't get past this one here. This one here is the best looking one of the bunch. This shaving cream, or the lather I've got whipped up, I should say, is a lot like cream. And it's it started out wet, but didn't add quite enough water. In other words, I anticipated that, like it usually does, it'll thicken up as time goes on. And this one here did, but I thought I added enough water. But this is, in other words, it's not dripping anymore. It's a lot like a cream right now, which is not a bad thing. It's just I normally don't whip it up quite like this. You could do this all day. It goes on so smooth. And I can pick up the scent just ever so lightly. Like I say, it's not an in-your-face type scent. Oh, one of the interesting things last night also was, at least to me it is, and I know my wife, she cracked me up. She told me she ordered my birthday present, which is in January this month. And she said she already ordered it. And we started, talking about, what it was, I was making my attempts to guess, and she said, I said, did you order from Walmart? She said, no. And I said, Amazon? And I said, well, if you ordered on Amazon, I can see what you ordered. I was told not to look. She's something else. And if you're relatively new to the channel, she's the reason I'm doing this anyway. I had a full beard. It had got to the point a while back that I was tired of paying the prices for cartridges and for the amount of money I was paying, the aggravation I was getting. I didn't appreciate it too much. I more or less quit shaving. So in other words, I just had a little electric trimmer. I take the guard off, trim up here, trim up underneath the neck. That's all I was doing. I think if I remember right, I was down to 1 or 2 cartridges left for an occasion where I felt the need to do so. But I had pretty much quit quite some time ago. But she wanted me to shave my beard off. So the only way I'm going to shave my beard off is if I can find basically an acceptable way to get it, to shave it. Smooth, comfortable, and not cost me an arm and a leg. Well, it's cost me an arm and a leg, but I did find this smooth and comfortable. At any rate, so I told her I would leave this and shave the rest of it off, and that's how we got to this point. Now, she'd been asking me for years to shave it off. It's just like, no. I had gotten to that point quite some time ago. When I was younger, shaving was not something I enjoyed doing. It was painful. No. I made up my mind a long time ago that I was growing a beard and I'm not shaving. So, that's how all this got started. Yeah, those early days, spending hours watching videos, trying to find websites, and that's the reason why, to a degree, I find that it's important to include the links down below, is because that's how I was able to find the websites that had all these good, items to be looking up. Because at the time, I couldn't figure out, how does a guy, the words find all these? Where's the websites at, and so on and so forth. In other words, I was really struggling trying to find these things, and over time, some of the videos would have the links down below, and I was able to find them, as well as a few, in other words, blogs and whatnot, and which really helped me a lot to get started and figuring out what I did want or didn't want, or whatever the case might be. Starting out with a very small budget, I had to be very particular about what I bought when I first started out. In other words, making a mistake, if you will, and buying something that wasn't going to work for you, it really wasn't an option. So I was very grateful back then for folks that went ahead and took the time to put links down below for the gear that they were using. And I understand, that's probably the freest form of advertising for that, for those folks that make the product. But on the other hand, for people like me, when you're first starting out, knowing where to go was, a good part of the battle, trying to figure out what you was going to need to buy and where to buy. Nice cooling effect this morning, I can already tell. No stinging, by the way. Alum block did not have anything to report, which was pretty much expected. This really is a nice shaver, and I understand for some budgets this is definitely on the high end of the deal, and I understand it. Trust me. It takes me a long time to spend that kind of money on a shaver. I give it a lot of thought, and I weigh it against everything else, and it usually takes me a moment before I finally get it. But this shaver here, in my opinion, is really nice. Nice, smooth, comfortable. And I say typically, not always, but a stainless steel, just straight up stainless steel, no Teflon coating, no platinum, none of that sort of thing. And I don't know if it has anything on it. There's not any information I could find that it's coated any particular way, but yeah, it does. This is just a great shave, and for it to work that well in a shaver like this, I think speaks a lot, not only to the shaver, but also to the blade. I've got 100 pack of those, in other words. And how I got started on that was another guy, which there'll be another story later on. Just a great shave this morning. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe. Smooth shaves to you. And don't forget, it's 2021, not 2020.